Jubilee update. Where do we even begin? We have 3 gigantic worldwide banking systems that are being sorted out. They will ultimately allow people to trade everything that they might need or want to trade. We are reconstituting the Federal Reserve note, and we are doing away with the national debt. The national debt will be paid off by prepaid credit. It should have been paid off years and years ago, but wasn't. And so that's finally getting done. The immediate effect, of course, will be a boom in the economy. And so that is all happening. The cost of all of this is already established and paid for. It's prepaid, right? So we don't have to worry about any of that. We have humongous amounts of prepaid credit. We have humongous amounts of gold and silver. And so no living man or woman needs to worry about anything like that again. We are looking at a complete 100% across the board ending of all forms of taxation, all forms of entitlement, as in titles, like land titles and all that, an end to all these things that have been used as a means to coerce and to defraud and to seize upon private property. Everything that has been used in some form of coercion, everything like taxation, having to keep all of these records, having to meet all of these statutory requirements, all these federal code items that should never have applied to average living people. All of that is getting gutted and out the door. You'll no longer have to dread April 15th every year. You'll no longer have to keep records of every little expense to turn into the IRS. The IRS and the DOJ and all their running dogs are being gutted as we speak. They should never have been employed by our helpers, our subcontractors, as their very own flak jacket at public expense. It should have been out of their pockets, not ours. There's so much like that is just the workers took things in their control and did not act honorably or reasonably with respect to their employers because they never expected us to show up again. I mean, let's face it, they thought we were down and out and we're never going to come back. So they just pretty much ran things to ruin and took as much, embezzled as much as they could, and generally didn't do the right thing 90% of the time, just like the all that foreign aid that never made it to the foreign destinations, leaving us scratching our heads about the entire thing. Well, now thanks to Doge, we have the confirmation of what we knew was true, that 98% of all federal aid to foreign destinations never made it there. Only about 2% of all that was appropriated as foreign aid ever got out of the hands of the crooks that were manipulating the systems. Quite a few people have already heard, so I might as well comment on it briefly, that there won't be a reset per se. There's no reason for a reset once the Federal Reserve note is, as we say, redeemed and the national debts are cleared away. So there won't be this kind of cataclysmic crash into the mountainside and burn sort of scenario that has been such a cause for fear mongering and worry for so long. It's not that we like the Federal Reserve. It's not that we're going to preserve the Federal Reserve per se. It's that we are wiping out the national debt, and that should have happened a long time ago. And once that is done, then we will regroup and recoup and look at how we're going to manage things going forward. Let me suggest to you that using debt as a form of currency is crazy. It's tacitly insane and illegal. And so that form of money is eventually just going to be absorbed in a new form of positive money will be established, not only in the gold and silver array, but in terms of credit markets and credit being exchanged. Those of you who are part of the global family banks vendor system, you will have access to funds to build your businesses, interest-free. I think that's a very exciting opportunity, very good news for small businesses. You will be unburdened from having to carry the cost of employer insurances. You'll be set free of the cost of unemployment insurance for your employees. You won't have to keep all these records and have all these worries on your weary heads. And so that will be a great freedom. It will be a wondrous thing that you can just live your lives and do your business and not have to go through all of this extra record keeping and fear of being hauled into court and all that stuff. It is not going to be that way going forward. The other good news that I can think of off the top of my head is that we'll be having basically a Jubilee where people that have been unfairly and unjustly railroaded out of their homes and property will be able to get everything back. Now that's going to cause some disruption because in many cases other people have purchased homes in good faith thinking that they were available for purchase when in fact they had been stolen. And so those people will have to be compensated and moved to other quarters. There was a lot of land grabbing. There was a lot of double dealing, a lot of tax fraud going on. We're going to have quite a cleanup operation arresting the people that were responsible for that. We have been overall successful with our different negotiations and things that we've had to do diplomatically. The whole situation with the United Nations has been somewhat testy at times, and all of it's been confused. It's going to take probably 20 years to sort out all the details. But in the short term, what it means is that we're back in charge of our government. We're all going to have to work harder at participating in our government, making decisions at all levels of government, local, state, and national. And so it's going to be a whole new experience. A lot of people who are used to the nanny state will have to wake up and realize that no, there's no nanny state there anymore. This is the American government. This is our government, and we have to participate in it, and we have to make decisions, and we have to establish safeguards for our own sakes and our own local government, our own state government, and actually participate. So that will be new. I tried to lay it out in an article this morning. I was already being besieged with all these special interest groups. So, save the baby gay whales type things. And no, that's not part of this anymore. That full scenario, the political parties, all of that is part of a foreign government and always has been. And so now you're going to see that we have a very stripped down, plain Jane kind of government, which was always what was intended. And it stays pretty much out of your business. The only time that you have to worry is, number one, if you are doing something to harm or endanger other people or stealing their stuff. I mean, otherwise the government's going to leave you alone. You're going to have your privacy. You're not going to be surveilled. There are a lot of basic things about human, or I should say mankind's rights that will be honored. I don't know if this is making sense to everybody or not, but the American government is radically different than the United States government, just as the government of this country was and always was supposed to be radically different from any of the Commonwealth countries and from the European countries in general. We're supposed to have our own government. And so, as I put it in the article, we're back in Kansas. And things are going to be very much different. They'll be better in a lot of ways. And you will certainly have more say in your own lives and in your government without a lot of foo-foo-rah and nonsense. But at the same time, you'll be expected to take care of yourselves, to use your own money effectively and well to take care of yourselves, because, bear in mind, you're getting back a bunch of money that you will now be able to take care of your own needs. You won't need Medicare to take care of your needs. You won't need to argue over whether something's covered or not. You'll have more than enough to pay for your own bills. You'll have more than enough to take care of everything that you need to take care of. And there will be some restructurings of the various economic sectors to refocus the attention on things, well, like the health services economic sector that has been operating as a for-profit sector since the 1970s. That will get changed so that we actually are concentrating on health instead of concentrating on making a buck off of disease. So there are a lot of things like that that will get reformed. There are many things about law that will get drastically reformed. So it'll be quite a shock, but it'll be good overall. Everybody is called upon to have a greater degree of self-discipline and self-knowledge. Everybody's called upon to extend goodwill to your neighbors and people in your communities. We are functioning basically with the old dictum of mankind, which is simply do no harm. If you think about it, there really are only two laws, and those two laws condense even more to be simply do no harm. If you don't harm other people and don't harm the environment and don't lie, cheat, steal, murder, and et cetera, which causes harm, then you have nothing to worry about and are free to live your life. And I think that's a wonderful thing, because as many of us have experienced, when a government turns predatory, there is no safety. They preach to you about security and safety and things like the surveillance state, and they try to sell you on it because it's going to be so safe and secure. But in reality, if you don't have your own freedom and you don't have your own privacy, you've already lost your security, because that's the ground zero basis of security, okay? You may have seen this past week that they passed yet another law that would allow them to come around and actually confiscate silver. And it was actually posted in the Federal Register day before yesterday, so that they're intending to collect silver the way they came around and collected gold in the 1930s. We are exempt from that, and we will enforce that exemption. We will make it very, very clear to Mr. Trump that that particular rule and law pertains only to federal employees, not to Americans in general. And so don't be immediately scared and think that you have to do something extreme to save your silver. Believe me, if there's any attempt by the British territorial government to come around door to door and pull off an FDR on us, they will be arrested as criminals and they will be put behind bars. This is not going to happen. Not coming up with it again. We now know the basis of all their actions. We now know what the limitations are of their contracts and the treaties, and we're holding them to it. So there's that. Otherwise, let's see. Everything is about as full speed ahead as it can get. Everything takes, I don't know, everything seems to take longer and cost more than you ever dreamed possible.